From KAPP Local News, this is Good Morning Northwest.
Good morning and thank you for joining us on this Tuesday, April 13th. I'm Neil Fischer. We hope you had a great start to your work week. It is a little windy out there, so let's check in first with Chief Meteorologist Kristin Walls. Kristin, a busy day ahead today.
Yes, we're going to continue to see these winds picking up. Not really a bad start, but a bit breezy, as you mentioned, as you head on out the door this morning. So let's give you a live look right now. This is from the Legend Skycam Network, downtown Yakima. Pretty quiet start for you right now. Wind speeds as we switch over to our current winds right now. These are sustained winds picking up in Yakima, 13, 15 there in the Tri-Cities, and then 22 over into Dayton. So these will increase a bit as we take you throughout your afternoon. We are talking wind gusts today as high as about 40 miles per hour in some spots. Temperatures, though, a bit warmer than yesterday morning, 42 in the Tri-Cities, still down to about 27 there in Walla Walla, 46 in Prosser, and then 46 degrees for Yakima. So clear and quiet still around the Pacific Northwest. We're still expecting that mostly sunny skies, 60 degrees at lunchtime and 64 later on this afternoon. So more on that wind, how long we're expecting it to stick around, and when we could see some 80s in this forecast. I'll have more details. It's all coming up.
All right, thank you, Kristin. Breaking news this morning, the U.S. is recommending a pause in administration of the single-dose Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine to investigate reports of potentially dangerous blood clots. In a joint statement, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Food and Drug Administration said it was investigating clots in 6 women in days after vaccination in combination with reduced platelet counts. Almost 7 million doses of the J&J vaccine have been administered in the U.S. Federal distribution channels, including mass vaccination sites, will pause the use of the J&J shot, and states and other providers are expected to follow. 1 month ago, all of Washington state went into phase 3 of reopening, allowing more people inside restaurants, bars, gyms, and entertainment venues. That worked out better for some counties than others. Yesterday, Governor Inslee's office announced Cowlitz, Pierce, and Whitman counties will all have to move back to phase 2 on Friday. They'll stay there for at least 3 weeks before the state reevaluates on May 3rd. That's less than a week before graduation at WSU. This year, the ceremony will be virtual, but if you're planning a graduation party, you might want to think again. In phase 2, you can only have 5 people at an indoor gathering. You can have up to 15 at an outdoor event as long as they're all from the same 2 households. In phase 3, you can get together with up to 50 people as long as you're outside. A lot of attention in Whitman County has been directed at the campus of Washington State University and the students. Officials with the university have been concerned about the rising number of cases for a couple of weeks. And because the university does its own contact tracing, they know where people are getting sick. About a week ago, the university worked with the public health department and got an emergency health order, which reduced the gathering number down to 10 from 50.
And we think that we've seen just in the last week a drop in cases, I think, due in part to the fact that fewer people are able to get together. The other nice thing it does is it gave it gave the Pullman Police Department the ability to write citations if they saw that people were not following those guidelines.
Police in Pullman say since March 24th, they've received more than 30 complaints from gatherings and given out 4 warnings, but no infractions. And even though this campus is supposed to be quiet, police say they have been busy with parties still going on. Yakima Health District officials were not hopeful last week that the county's COVID-19 case and hospitalization rates would be within the limits set by the state to stay in phase 3, but the State Department of Health says Yakima County is safe to stay in that phase for now. It's a relief for restaurant owners. Jean's Cottage Inn Restaurant says the ever-changing COVID-19 restrictions are hard on local restaurants, which often order what they need ahead of time, only to find out that new rules mean they can't have as many customers and worry that product may go to waste.
We've been through this 3 times already, so it's like this is going to happen again. And, it's just another bump in the road.
Again, the next evaluation by the State Department of Health will be in another 3 weeks on May 3rd. The FEMA mass vaccination site in Yakima is shutting down today because of high winds expected throughout the region. If you had an appointment, you'll need to go to the Valley Mall instead. Oregon is about to get its first FEMA-operated mass vaccination site. The White House announced it's coming to Central Point, which is near Medford. Governor Kate Brown tweeted that the site should be ready to offer 1,000 doses per day starting April 21st. That's just after everyone in Oregon becomes eligible for the vaccine. The Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industry says companies can require coronavirus vaccines, and one winery is taking advantage of that. The King Estate Winery is requiring all its employees to get at least the first dose of coronavirus vaccine before May 20th. Dozens of workers and their family members got their first shots last week. Winery officials say they're making case-by-case exemptions for people with religious or medical reasons not to get the vaccine. And they say for now, nobody has outright refused the shot.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to that point yet. I mean, no one has outright said that. The intent of the policy is to be supportive, not punitive.
The winery restaurant is still closed and tours are on hold, but visitors are allowed to reserve a wine tasting time. And this brings us to our poll question of the day. Should businesses require that your employer get vaccinated for coronavirus? You can vote now at yaktrynews.com/vote, and we'll have those results at the end of the show. All right, at 5:06, let's take a quick break here on Good Morning Northwest. Before we do, Kristin, still quiet out?
We're still looking at those winds that'll pick up later on in the day today. So blowing dust advisory, I'll have more details on that and how long these gusty winds will be sticking around this week. Their full forecast is coming up.
Plus, a student is dead and an officer is in the hospital after a shootout with police at a high school in Tennessee. Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. A suspect is dead and an officer is injured following a shooting at a high school in Knoxville, Tennessee, Monday afternoon. Officers responded to the school after reports that a student came into the school with a firearm. He was in the restroom. Officers ordered him out, but he refused. Officers then went into the bathroom, and that's when the suspect fired shots, hitting an officer. One officer returned fire, and the suspect, again a student, was pronounced dead at the scene. The officer who was shot is in stable condition. A Seattle toddler remained in critical condition at Harborview Medical Center Monday after she was shot along with 3 others in a Central District parking lot Sunday. The 2-year-old girl was taken to the hospital in a private car after police say at least 2 people came around a corner and opened fire on cars and people outside an AutoZone and a Starbucks. Harborview spokesperson Suzanne Gregg says the 3 adult male victims had been treated and have been released. No arrests have yet been made. Coming up on Good Morning Northwest, President Biden's plea for infrastructure was the top priority when Congress got back to work yesterday. We're taking a look at his latest plan for American jobs next. Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. The Biden administration is pushing its American Jobs Plan as a way to help the U.S. rebound from the COVID-19 pandemic. During a meeting with tech company CEOs on Monday, President Joe Biden says there's bipartisan support in Congress to boost in the country's semiconductor industry. According to the president, the U.S. is falling behind other countries in making these sorts of advancements.
It's about investing in infrastructure, not for the 20th century, but the 21st century. It's not just roads and bridges. We're investing in water systems so Americans can have clean water infrastructure. We're investing in high-speed rail infrastructure. We're building charging stations to support America's electric vehicle future, and investing in that infrastructure.
Biden also told the business leaders he will need their support backing the U.S. workers if the plan gets approved. Mexico, Honduras, and Guatemala are tightening security at their borders. The Biden administration says they've agreed to put more troops on their own border to stem the flow of migration to the U.S. The government has struggled to keep up with the influx of migrants recently. Customs and Border Protection encountered more than 171,000 migrants in March, including a record number of unaccompanied minors. Dozens of top business leaders held a meeting over the weekend to discuss how the fight against controversial voting restrictions proposed in the U.S. A Zoom meeting reportedly included CEOs from Target, American Airlines, Merck & Company, the Atlanta Falcons owner Arthur Blank, businessman James Murdoch, and more. According to a press release, the business leaders said they will reevaluate campaign donations to candidates who back voter restrictions. Civil rights groups have filed multiple federal lawsuits over the law, saying the state is trying to restrict voters after a historic turnout in November. FEMA says it's getting thousands of calls about its new funeral assistance program. The program launched Monday, and apparently of the large volume of calls is causing technical issues. FEMA is asking callers to be patient. Under the program, families who lost loved ones to COVID-19 can apply for assistance with funeral costs. Participants can apply for up to $9,000 in assistance per burial. Funeral expenses must have been incurred after January 20th of last year. The World Health Organization has called for a ban on the sale of live wild animals in food markets. According to the organization, animals are the source of more than 70% of all emerging infectious diseases in humans. It comes after a 120-page WHO report into the origins of COVID-19 found it probably spread to people through animals and probably started spreading among humans no more than a month or two before it was noticed in December of 2019.
Now, KAPP First Alert Weather with Chief Meteorologist Kristin Walls. Sponsored by Click It RV Tri-Cities.
And we're certainly looking ahead to an active weather day today. We have a blowing dust advisory. This is set to take place at 11 a.m. this morning until 8 p.m. for this evening. It essentially includes the majority of our area, everyone that you see highlighted there. And as these winds really start to pick up, we'll have that blowing dust and visibility could be less than about 1 mile. So just a heads up there, of course, if you plan on traveling for today. Now, as far as wind speeds go right now, we have sustained winds up to about 15 in the Tri-Cities, currently up to 13 in Yakima, 11 there in Ellensburg, but pretty calm right now from Walla Walla into Pendleton. Dayton, you're up to about 22. Not much of a wind gust. The only exception over into Yakima, your current wind gust up to about 23 miles per hour. But these winds, as they start to get going, we could see some gusts at times close to about 40 miles per hour. So there's Futurecast again later on this afternoon. Just a windy day ahead with a lot of blowing dust, some haziness to the sky today as well. As we head into Wednesday, still looking at some breezy conditions at times. I think gusts at least on Wednesday could be up to 30 miles per hour. And then heading into Thursday, I think Thursday afternoon, the winds will still be a bit breezy. So we'll see some small improvements towards the end of the work week. Nothing quite like we'll see out there for today, but still looking at some breezy conditions over the next couple of days. Now temperatures, right, 42 Tri-Cities. Chilly start there in Walla Walla. You're down to 27, mid-40s in Prosser, and 46 degrees over in Yakima. And some pretty high tree pollen out there for today as well. Alder, birch, and juniper. Those will be the main pollens you can expect for today. So we have clear and quiet conditions early this morning, so not much of a change to the sky cover. We're still looking at a ridge of high pressure that will be in place for the Pacific Northwest. So no clouds, no moisture moving in. We're going to just see those winds that'll pick up here locally. So there's Futurecast turning really windy this afternoon. We're going to keep those winds with us as we head throughout your day on Wednesday. Still mostly sunny and still some pretty quiet weather as well. There's Thursday towards the end of the work week. And even for Friday, we're still looking at that mostly sunny sky. And this is really when those temperatures will start to continue to climb. We'll be up to about 75 degrees on Friday, 78 on Saturday, and a couple of 80-degree days there, Sunday into Monday of next week. So those numbers jumping well above average for the upcoming weekend. So for today, with those winds, we're going to be up to 62 in Yakima and Toppenish, 58 today in Ellensburg, 64 for Hanford into the Tri-Cities, with 62 today in Prosser. Dayton today at 57, 62 in Walla Walla, and those upper 50s in Pendleton. So overnight tonight, gusts could still be as high as about 40 miles per hour as those temperatures dip down through the 30s overnight. So there's your 7-day forecast. A little bit more wind Wednesday, up to about 71 on Thursday. Mostly sunny. We should have just some light winds over the weekend at 78 Saturday, 82 degrees on Sunday. And then a lot of sunshine here on the 7-day forecast as well as we look ahead into your weekend. We're going to be up to about 74 degrees on Friday, upper 70s there for your Saturday, and still mostly sunny on Sunday at 81.
Thank you, Kristin. At 5:20, we're going to take a quick break here on Good Morning Northwest. Coming up next, American Idol is back, but it's going to be missing a popular judge. Find out who's replacing Luke Bryan. Welcome back to Good Morning Northwest. More fallout from Georgia's new voting laws. Actor Will Smith and director Antoine Fuqua will move production of their upcoming film Emancipation from Georgia over voting regulations. That's according to a press release sent out Monday. In part, it said we cannot in good conscience provide economic support to a government that enacts regressive voting laws. Emancipation was scheduled to begin filming on June 21st. American Idol returned last night, but Luke Bryan wasn't in the judge's seat. He is sitting out the first live show after testing positive for COVID-19. Bryan said he's doing well and looks forward to being back at it soon. Former American Idol judge Paula Abdul filled in as a guest judge, along with judges Lionel Richie and Katy Perry. Check this out at 5:24. Grab some lettered tiles in honor of National Scrabble Day. The legendary board game, which is played internationally, was first named Lexico and then later Crisscross Words before creator Alfred Mosher Butz finally settled on its now familiar title. Scrabble players score points by creating words on a 15 by 15 grid. More than 150 million Scrabble boards have been sold over the past few decades, and they can be found in roughly a third of all U.S. households. Scrabble also made it to the small screen in 1984 as a daytime game show and is also a 2004 inductee of the National Toy Hall of Fame. Are you good at Scrabble, Kristin?
No, not good at Scrabble, but one game that I do have that's very similar to Scrabble, it doesn't have the big board. It's called Bananagrams, and it's the same thing. You just it's a bag filled of letters, and you make words.
I'm more of like a Monopoly person.
I'm with you too. We have Monopoly at home too. I love playing games. So
yeah.
Those are some fun ones.
Coming up on Good Morning Northwest, with everyone becoming eligible for the vaccine this week, we're highlighting the struggle many people have just signing up for an appointment and the resources available to help. Plus, we're talking about possible tax relief for people impacted by last September's devastating fires.
And those winds are starting to pick up across the area this morning. More details on that blowing dust advisory and how long the winds will stick around. Your full forecast is coming up.